Jay, hi, how you doing, buddy? I haven't been real social media like I want to have anything to do with social media. So we're a little slow on the new video coming out. I do have all the parts. Steppy's going to build a motor. We got duct tape drags and duct tape drags and the poverty tour coming up. Corey, how are you? We got all this stuff coming up pretty soon. Me and Zeppy will be there. Still planning on doing the poverty tour. Just been busy. I've been super busy. But, sitting here watching apparently not celebrate recent events. Anyway, Leonard, how are you doing? How's Colorado out there? You guys unfortunately had an incident too. That's unfortunate. Chip, what's happening? Seen you got my sticker on the back of your pickup truck. I saw that. I appreciate that. And you got stickers coming with you, hopefully. I just got the same old crap. Ain't had a lot of time to get into that stuff. I've been working on my truck mostly. What cold tonight? Yeah, Chip, I got them. They're in there by the computer. I like to kind of save those though because I don't like putting a lot on the cars anymore because they don't last and I don't want to lose them. If I don't have any more. But yeah, I'll definitely take a couple more that I can put them on the car. Yeah, it's been hot around here. God damn, it's been hot. Like still no rain. I got rained on in Indiana the other day. Me and Dixie Lee, my dog, we sat outside my pickup or my semi and just let it rain on us. Like, God dang. Never thought I'd be wishing for rain. But it's dry around here. Like really dry. What are you bringing again, Chip? 80s and sprinkles. Yeah, we don't have sprinkles. We got 80s though. It's 76 here in the great state of Illinois. You notice my sarcasm. I'm not real happy. But it is what it is. I'm not going to burden anybody with my thoughts on it. Let's just say there's a lot of disgusting human beings out there. That's all I got to say. But anyway, Chip, what are you bringing again? You're bringing a pickup, right? I'm trying to catch up on everything. Like I said, I've been out of it. '98 OBS. Yep, that's right. I knew that. 39. No, I'll take that 50 range. But we get, believe it or not, it gets just as cold as you guys get here. It gets freaking cold. And you got prettier scenery. All we got is, grainless fields. Howdy doody from Texas. Yeah, that's my problem is I'm working way too much. They want me to work this weekend again. God damn, man. I am going to have to, though, because I got to pay for poverty tour and duct tape drags. And see, I'll leave that Sunday and I won't be back till that Tuesday, maybe, if we haul ass back home. So I lose a week and 2 days of pay because I don't get vacation pay. My boss is a prick. It's me. I wasn't really going to do anything, but everybody's inside watching Young Sheldon, whatever. And I just wasn't going to sit there. I was like, well, I don't really want to go out and work on anything because I got my good clothes on. Yeah, a lot of people. But yeah, I just haven't been in the mood to film for the last few weeks. It's been a little rough. And what fun is me going out there with Zeppy and filming, and I'm not in the mood to film? Then you just get this asshole that's just wants to get it done, you know. Rock crawling. Yeah. Only going to one day. Yeah, I wish there was a way, blah blah, that I could live stream the entire. I think that would be more fun than actually filming it because I film it basically for the memory for Zeppy. That's one thing. It's not really trying to do anything. I'm not trying to make a little bit off of it, but I'm not trying to make a bunch of money off this stuff. It's basically just so Zeppelin can go back and go, hey, I remember this, you know, because it's permanent. Once it's on the internet, it's there. And then I have it, and yeah, it's gonna be a fun time. It should be a fun time. A lot of people. I hope, everybody takes care of each other, but at the same time, we all got somewhere to be on Friday. So make sure if they're going, you bring extra parts, man. Water pump, fuel pump, belts, tools, jack. If you need a spare, bring a spare. But I highly suggest a tent or a canopy thing. Um, Fuel filters, just bring some extra fuel line. If you got a fuel injected thing, make sure you bring what you can replace fuel lines with. I'm telling you. But that's something I do at every. We go to power tour. I bring all that extra water pump, extra fuel pump. Nice thing is about Gutless out there. She's got a new tank coming. I'm not going to put a video out of that, but I got a fuel injection tank coming for her because I'm having a sloshing problem. If you turn a corner too quick, it starves the damn thing. It's just, the whole put in your own, yeah, but the minute you try to do anything high performance, it starves. It'd get down to a half a tank, and as soon as I turned a corner, the car would die. Like if you really took a hard corner. It happened a bunch of times when I was doing that dirt drag thing. But I got an actual tanks, and I'm going to use the Aces drop in because it's exactly the same. It's the right bolt pattern. I'm going to put that in there, and then I had to buy the universal floaty thing sender. '67. I don't have a '64. I got a '67 Buick. Wish I had a '64. Unless you're talking about Dalton's Skylark. Holly Hydromat. What the hell is that? I've never even heard about that. Holly Hydromat. Let me look that up because now I feel stupid. Hydromat? Oh, yeah. See, I've got one of them in there. I mean, it's got one in it. And I measured it perfectly. It's in there right. I guess it kind of works, but oh, the black. Man, Skylark. Jeez, criminy sakes. That is a GS340, not a Skylark. There are differences. Believe it or not, there's a lot of similarities underneath that hood. They're different. Like it's a totally different radiator setup. They did not come with air conditioning. I mean, and you can body wise, you can use 67 Skylark parts. But as far as like your all the stuff like up front, like the damn radiator support and all that, it's all different. It sucks. But yeah, it is. I mean, if you took away the GS340 off of it and you looked at it, you would think you could say it was a Skylark, but they're a little different. There's my Mexican Bandit. I took these guys with everything going on. I worked Saturday, and I took these guys up to what was it?
Spirit Halloween.
Yeah, Spirit Halloween. Spent way too much damn money. What's up, Joey? I spent way too much money. And I ended up with jack shit. No, wait. I did get something.
Jeans.
No. What did I get from Spirit Halloween? Go get them.
Oh, God.
I couldn't resist. I could not resist. I bought something. I forgot. He'll be right back, Leonard. Yeah. But yeah, going back to the hydromat thing, it's a cool idea if it works. But it's still not, if you get down to so far, it will not pick up. It just won't. You take them out of the box.
I can use them.
Yeah. How's that 400 running in Blanche? Perfect. And not a thing wrong with it. It works perfectly. It should not run as good as it does. It's a dog, but it's mostly because of the transmission and the gears. But once you get it up over 2,200, probably it does a lot better. But out of the hole, it ain't good shit.
Oh wait, I have one of the wrong hand.
All right, Chip. I probably won't be on very long anyway. I just sitting around while everybody's watching TV. What are you doing? Are you about done? Yeah. I couldn't resist. Let me see it. Let me see one. If I can get this up high enough. What? He goes, God dang. But, you know. Oh! Yeah. They had these little hands. These things are hilarious. There's a couple of TikTokers or YouTubers that wear them. You know, you have to get low enough. Oh my God. Ooh. He got his Jason, what is it?
Body blanket.
Body blanket with a hood. Yeah, blah blah. I don't think we'll have too much trouble with old Gutless. I think she'll do pretty good. I haven't touched that car. It just runs,
Every day get a full
2V closed chambered Cleveland heads. Do you know that is what's on that motor? That is exactly what's on that motor. They're 2V Cleveland heads, closed chambered. And I had a lot of people, it's the older 400 from a 72 Torino, and it had those heads on it, except, and it was a 2V model. And it was the Cleveland heads. And that thing, everybody told me it ain't going to run because it's not enough compression and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, no offense, blah, blah. But it's not so much that those thumper cams, they don't mind low compression because their lobe separation is so close that, I mean, there ain't really a lot of time to get any compression anyway because you're opening and closing your valve so fast. Olds Cutlass, Buick 225, Fords, Dodge Corvette, Ragtop, 3 stub nose vans. 3 stub nose, wow. Buick 225, that's cool. Corvette, Mopar. They're pretty cool though. They all need saved. I'm not saying that. But yeah, no, the Ranchero runs really good. We are gonna take those side pipes off of it though. But they got to come off. They're just falling apart. They're rusty and leaking, and they're just not good. And we'll put some regular exhaust on it, maybe some headers, get those manifolds off of it, open her up a little. Maybe she'll run a little better. I'm not even a GM guy. I'm kind of everything. I do like my BOPs though, man. It feel hot out here to you?
Yeah.
It is kind of warm. Put a fan on me. Oh, man. My phone going crazy. So how's the Texas weather there? Because we'll be there in a few weeks up on the Panhandle. But
I swear, if we get rain while we're gone, I'm going to be so mad.
Street racing a V8 snub nose. That'd be fun. 98 in Texas. Maybe we do need to put air conditioning in it. Yeah. I was going to try to put heat and air in that car before we left, like an electric style.
In 3 weeks?
Yeah. But we just ain't going to have time. I just don't have time.
I should bring these to school and be like, oh, yeah, I got to.
Your mom's going to shit. She's going to see that. Go up and give her a big kiss and a hug. Mom, I love you. Oh, Leonard, you would have to ask that. Well, if I could ever get a second, the thing is that's still going to happen. But I've had to renegotiate because I had talked said person into selling me a few different vehicles, like not just the machines. And I know the amount, and I am going to have to pay a pretty penny for these 2 machines. Okay. They're not, I've never paid this much for a classic car to restore. or, at least bring back to life. And it's a very, very, it's going to be a hard task to get these things on the road. I'm not kidding. They're worse than Artemis was. They are literally worse than Artemis was. So anyway, I was talking to the guy about it, and I told him he had a Javelin and he had a couple other things, and I was going to buy all of them. That was the deal. I'd just buy them all off of him, take them home. And I told him flat out, I'm not going to resell them. These cars will absolutely stay in my family for the rest of their life. And I didn't come back up there in time to get the Javelin. So he sold the Javelin for the price that I had talked to him about. Because you didn't get a hold of me. Well, I didn't know that he sold it. And out of nowhere, I get on Marketplace like all of us freaking car addicts do. I seen this Javelin. The exact same color as Javi, ours, except it was a 304 3-speed car. It is in rough shape, but there was a lot of stuff I could have used off it. That's why I was going to buy it. Well, anyway, he sold it to this cat because I had talked him into start selling stuff. That way it wouldn't, get too bad. This fucking guy buys the Javelin, brings it home, cleans it off, puts it back on Marketplace for 3 times what he sold it for, what he bought it for. And I seen this, and I called my buddy, Tony, who also knows this gentleman, really nice guy that has this AMC stuff. He's fucking mad. He's pissed. When you get somebody I would rather they rot into the ground before I sell them and say stuff like they're going to be a hell of a sale when I'm gone. And I get a rapport and I talk the guy into selling him, telling him, I'm going to keep these things. The Javelin was pretty far gone. You would basically have to just use it for parts, right? And he knew that. He knew that. And the guy fucking does the exact opposite of what I said I was going to do. So guess what happens? Man, I'm not real sure I want to sell those anymore, if that's what's going to happen. But I'm still going to get them. But I'm going to have to we're going to have to cut down about 25 trees to get this thing out.
Oh,
and it's not going to be easy. But the plan is I want at least one of them for duct tape drags next year. I want to drive a Rebel machine across this country to duct tape drags. The thing is I know as soon as I pull up to the judging in that car, regardless of its shape, unless it's like Artemis was last year, you can't put a price tag of $5,000 on a car like that because Artemis is the same way. Artemis is priceless. You can't put a price on that car. I'm going to be lucky to get in with my Cutlass, but it's pretty ratty. If you guys ever see it in person, you'll know what I'm talking about. Metal, other than the rusty quarters and stuff like that. Yeah, it's got a good floor in it, roof, all that stuff, but it may not make it in. But hopefully it's kind of the same thing as with Artemis, as they just said, oh, yeah, that car's got to go, because that's the one thing we get out of Gutless is everybody, that car gets more attention than the ambulance just because of the way it looks at the front. Kids love the thing. It's like we had a local deal here in town, and there's a bunch of kids up there, and I had the hood open on Gutless, and he had his big bug catcher out, and I was explaining to the parents, I said, oh yeah, I said I wasn't going to put this bug catcher on here, except he wanted it because he could walk up and grab the flapper and rev it. And then all the kids were like looking at it, and these are all kids that we know. they're all looking like, "Whoa, what's that?" And Zeppy went up there, and I started it, and Zeppy went up there and did that. And then I let all the kids walk up, and they got to rev the car with just that thing. I mean, that's pretty fucking awesome, honestly. But it may not make it into the beater. It might. I don't know. I don't care. I really don't care. If it don't make it, it don't make it. I'll still go out there and race it. We'll have a good time. Again, this is about the trip for me and him, really. I did it the first year with Skylar, and he was angry because he didn't get to go, and he's getting a little older. So I said, okay. But I don't know. But yeah, that guy that flipped that goddamn javelin, I messaged him, and I wasn't very friendly. He just said, well, it ain't your problem. And he lives north of me here. And I was like, yeah, it didn't go very well, but it's okay. We're still going to get him. You got to realize that those two cars, like I said, if you've seen the video of Artemis when we pulled it out, these are worse. And it's gonna take some doing. We're gonna need a backhoe. We have to cut down a bunch of trees. We got to move cars. There's 7 cars. There's 7, 8 cars. They're against a tree line, and you can't go back. You can only go forward because there's a ravine behind it. Hey, Michigan Muscle Car Garage, how you doing? And we have to move all these cars out of the way, which, by the way, are also cars that I want, but I don't have enough room for them. I could buy them all, probably, if he'd let me. You know, if I could get them out of there, but I got nowhere to put them. They're all AMCs, boys. All of them. AMCs. Hornets, Javelin, different. I'd love to save them all, but there's just no way. I'm not going to be able to do it. But I want to get the Rebels out of there. There's actually 3, by the way. It's not the 2. I can maybe they'll be on the road. I can get them on the road. No, they're not going to have a 390 in them. At first, they're going to be missing the hoods and wheels because he has them. He has the original hood to both cars. One's green, one's white. He has the original wheels to both cars. The Rebel Rallies. He's got all the interior for both of them. The green one has its interior in it. But again, it's down in the ground, so the floors are. This is going to be. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy. I guarantee you that nobody else on YouTube in their right mind would try to do this. There ain't no one. Even the Holy Goat, you could bend that out if you wanted to. If Dalton's very good at restoration, you can do it. But you have parts options with GTOs, Cutlasses, Chevelles, Mustangs, even a Javelin. You have all that stuff. There is nothing for a 70 Rebel machine. Nothing. This gentleman has a book on things that you can convert from one manufacturer to this car. But you cannot go out and buy these parts for this car. So you can convert it to a different style, but trying to find parts, nope. Are they going to get painted and restored? Nope. They're going to get put back on the road, and my family's going to drive them. We'll take them to shows. We'll take them there. I want to drive one across the country. I'd love to take one on Power Tour. My dad, I didn't have a lot of experience with AMC other than Jeeps before the Javelin. And I don't know why I want to punish myself, because unfortunately, Jabby got backed into and crushed the quarter panel on the driver's side. $700 for a quarter panel for that car. One company makes it. So guess what's going to happen? She's going to get straightened, and she's getting mudded and repainted. I'm just going to fix what got damaged and just go on. We'll just keep driving it. Because the minute you restore the whole thing, you'll never drive it. But as far as Rebel machines go, that's where that's at. I haven't given up on it. Like I said, I had to slow down for other reasons. And I'm not going to do this no more unless Zeppy's involved, because that was the premise to begin with, is just me and Zeppy making videos because he wanted to do YouTube. And I got made some really good friends in Dalton and Buff and everybody, and everybody wanted me to push it, but I can't do that because of my day job, which is my life. So then it takes care of this house and all this stuff, and I had to kind of reboot, and that's why I'm slowing down. No more one a week, no more two, not even every 2 weeks. It's gonna be right before we leave for duct tape, before it maybe the end of the month. But I got to play some music the end of this month, and I've only got 2 weeks. But I do have everything for Zeppy's 350 build, and the block is ready to go. So I just got to get a couple things cleaned up, and we'll start on that maybe this weekend. But I'm not doing anything anymore without him. I'm just not. Oh, AMC Concorde for the first car as a teen, 258 straight six, 2-wheel drive. This damn thing will run forever. I don't even think you need to change the oil. The damn thing will run forever. Yeah, AMD don't have shit for maybe Dodge. They got something for Dodge and Chevy pickups, and I talked to him about it on Power Tour. I was like, and then I talked to him again about it over at Good Guys in Columbus. I was like, yeah. They're like, yeah, no, we don't have anything like that. We don't even have the pops for that. Yeah, music is going to be a hell of a stressor. Too bad I'm playing country. Whatever. I haven't played full gig in over 2 years now. But I don't mind. I think I needed a break, man. I'm 50 years old. I've been playing repeatedly at least 3 to 4 times a month since I was 13 years old in clubs, not just jamming in the basement. When I was 13, I got drug up to a bar to fill in for a drummer that didn't show up, and I haven't stopped since. I did the Nashville thing. I got friends all over the damn place. I'm not going to name drop, but I don't know. I took the road of raising my son at that time. I would rather raise my son than go anywhere with it. It had its drawbacks for me, but not for him. I was there. Music is a stress reliever. The real ones understand, well, it just is what it is. I rock your song when cutting grass. Or I was just talking to a friend of mine today. I've got a full recording studio, by the way. That's something. And no, it's not like a studio. That shop out there that you see me in with the drum kit, if I shut those doors, cover the windows, get out my board, I've got one hell of a board. I've got everything. I can record 32 tracks on 32 tracks in over 32 times. So I can overdub all kinds of shit. It's dry, and then you just use a mastering setup in the computer. I've got the computer for it in the house. You just do a mastering setup on it, and you can bring in all your effects and all your things, which I don't like a lot of effects, man. I like raw, nasty, like early AC/DC, early Motley Crue, that sound of just nasty. And that, a lot of people don't know it. That song you're talking about, it's on my thing. You can see it. It's called "To Be a Man." That's one of like 20. I've got a shit ton of them I could put on here. I just don't. Some people asked about that song. That was recorded in a pig barn. No shit. It with a pig barn with styrofoam sheets like you'd use in a wall or something, that big white cheap shit surrounding my drums. I had a trigger system, what they call a drum trigger, on my kick and my toms because we didn't have enough microphones. It was a really cheap old trigger system, and one SM58 hanging down in between my cymbals to catch the snare and the cymbals. Okay. Then we had a SM57 on Jeff's cabinet, a Beta 57 on Tom's cabinet, and the bass was plugged direct going into an MK3 PV old school 2-slider left and right mixer coming out of the RCAs going into a old school Panasonic CD burner. Okay. So we took the CDs you could buy, you could burn your own. Remember when that was big? Buddy of ours just got one. Brand new. He was a DJ. He got this CD burner. Let's try it. So we plugged it in and we ran through that song, no vocals. That is one take, no vocals. And then we later took that same CD that we just burned, what they called finished it, put it in the player, ran it out into the board through headphones, and then we recorded from that CD to the other CD while me and Tom and all my buddies, two of them which are no longer with us, unfortunately, we had a microphone in the center of the room. We had my SM58 and Tom standing right next to me with his guitar. He did the solo. I sang the main vocals, and the backing vocals were sang by my other friends that were outside. That's how we recorded that. That is a raw. There is no effects. That is raw right out of the board. But yeah, that's how we did it. And it turned out so good. They were playing it on KC over in St. Louis. We had WZZQ over in Terre Haute that played it. It's played in Nashville. It was played all over. And that's how it was recorded. And then they shut it down because they wouldn't play it no more because it was whatever you call it, it was basically pirated music, and it was my music. I wrote that whole song, the lyrics of that, when I was in high school. I wrote the guitar part, the very beginning guitar part, something similar when I was in high school, but it wasn't until later that I came up with the whole thing and drop D'd it and did all that stuff. My friends were a huge help on that. I'm not taking full credit because Tom's a hell of a guitar player, but I've got more. I've got so many freaking songs. I just kind of gave up on it because music honestly went to shit. It has gone to shit. But I thought about re-recording it. I was talking to a buddy of mine today. I thought about re-recording it with what I have now. It'll lose a little bit of that rawness, but at least now I won't struggle so hard to sing it. I just I don't know. I had a rough time of singing that song, but I can sing it now. I got other versions of it too. That is not how the original version of that song was supposed to sound. It was supposed to be more of a slow, like not sad, but just kind of a fuck you. Because I had preachers and shit. I grew up Catholic, and these freaking priests were trying to say about this about me. I had a not both my parents. I loved my parents, but one of them liked to use the fact that I was adopted against me. She, such some horrible shit. But it wasn't. I don't blame her for it. We got over that, and we had reconciled, and she had explained to me what was going on with her and stuff. I don't hold it against her, but some bad shit got said, and I was just mad. And I got home one night from, I don't remember what I was doing. I think I was at band practice or something. I got home and I picked up my acoustic. I had this old Sears and Roebuck Harmony, and I started playing it. And I looked up at the TV, and Young Guns was on. The original Young Guns was playing, and wrote a song. It was basically about things I was going through and the story of Young Guns, not necessarily Billy the Kid. It was just because of the movie. That's what it's about. Yeah. So that's the story of To Be a Man. You guys, it's in my playlist somewhere. Yeah. It's like everybody always asks me, because I was Motley Crue fan. Drummer, but not really a Tommy Lee fan, because Tommy Lee's good with Motley Crue, and that's about it. He was an innovator with Motley Crue, but you get him out of Motley Crue, he's just another good drummer, I guess. But yeah, do you see the size of that chicken? I was a Mick Mars fan. That's who I was a fan of. Mick Mars. That first album. A lot of people, if you don't go back and listen to Too Fast for Love, the song that was not on there, that was on their originally EP, the 2-song flip side 45, Toast of the Town. If you want to go back and listen to raw, what it sounded like, that Hollywood 80s glam punk hair, go find Toast of the Town and listen, crank it and listen to Mick Mars's guitar tone and his guitar playing. The guy was amazing. Still is, actually. Another one was Warren D. Martini from Rat. Tracy Guns. I'm not a fan of Slash. I just think he's just another guitar player. He had a look. That's about it. Again, some of those players, they were great with the bands they were in, but once they got out of that, Tracy Guns did a few things, and I like Tracy. I've actually talked to him a few times. We'll just say that. And he, I flat out told him, I like you with LA Guns, but I don't like anything else you've done. And he was like, really? I was like, yeah. I said, it was just something about you guys, and that's just the way it was. I liked Slash with Guns N' Roses, but as soon as he moved on to other things, I was like, you just another, it takes one hell of a musician, and this is my opinion, to be able to do it on their own. Stevie Ray Vaughan, on his own, can play his ass off. Phenomenal guitar player. Like one of the best. Velvet Revolver was pretty cool, but Would you, would you still like him if Slash wasn't in it? Could they replace Slash in that band? He was just another player. Matt Sorum, hell of a drummer, played in Velvet Revolver. He also was with Guns N' Roses there for a while. Hell of a drummer. But he's literally just that. He's a drummer that can sit in and play everything. A lot of people don't know he was with the Cult. That's who he was with, was the Cult, who's another one of my favorite bands that a lot of people forgot about. She Sells Sanctuary, Firewoman. I mean, those are a couple of their songs, not necessarily their best ones. I was a weird one. Like Poison come out. I didn't like any of their mainstream stuff. I liked all the beside stuff. Warrant, one of the most underrated bands ever. That was, man, there's a lot of talent in that band. You getting rained on? I guess music is something I can talk about. Definitely don't want to talk about the news ever again. But yeah, I liked all kinds of music. I was into Thompson Twins. I thought they were extremely talented. Number one band that you would never ever believe that I am a huge fan of is Roxette. I thought their rhythms, their music, their everything about Roxette was great. Really, Zach Wild. You know, I've seen Ozzy twice. Never was Zach Wild. I've seen him with Joe Holmes, and I've seen him with Gus G. I had a chance to see him with Zach during Ozfest, but I think I got sick and I couldn't go. Yeah, my problem is I have to watch some things because I'm looking at see what's happening to fuel costs. I'm seeing what's happening over here. That's why I said at the beginning of me starting this is I'm just not real happy with social media at the moment. So I just really don't want. It's gotten to the point where I'm not sure I want my son on here, like at all. I don't want him anywhere near it. But I like the fact that the car people are generally good folks. You know, I don't have that. I don't have a problem there. I want Zeppy to experience and meet people and see things, and so I'm not going to try to keep him from it, and I'm not going to let them fucking keep him from it either. Yeah, well, Michigan, probably not. I don't think you'll need to. Rock, metal, blues, and cars. Ain't got no time for women in there. You gotta. I mean, that kind of goes with cars. It's got tits or tires, you know. Married. There you go. 25 years. Wow. Me and Amber have been together 12? Not married. Yeah, 72. I'm 1975. You know, I was born the day Rock and Roll Night and Party Every Day come out on the radio. My mom told me that. She said she heard it, something like that. She heard it like outside. A car was playing it real loud outside the wherever she was to have me. And I looked it up, and sure shit. But there was a little section of 70s music that come through there that wasn't all that great. But I love Boston. Boston's phenomenal band. I like Molly Hatchet, of course, Leonard Skinner, but not the not the same old shit. I'm sick of that, man. Give me Needle and Spoon, something like that. I freaking Fleetwood. Oh God, Rumors. I wore out my sister's album when I was like 4 or 5 years old, maybe. I can't remember. It was right before the first time I heard Van Halen. First time I heard Van Halen, I still have that album out in the garage. I have the album. The very first rock album I had ever heard was Van Halen 1, and I have it in the garage. Yeah, Rumors. If I had my guitar, I'd play some shit for you. I actually know a lot of that stuff. Not a Jethro Tull fan. I never was. I don't know. I'm not mocking them. It's like, it's the other band from the late 70s. Fucking the Canadians. What's their name? Uh, Gee, many Christmas. Geddy Lee. My brain's fried. Uh, anyway, no, yeah, I like CCR. Uh, Rush. Thank you. I'm I'm not a fan. Now, I respect their musicianship. They far and above a lot of people. I put them in the same realm as say Tool. Now Amber loves Tool, like loves Tool. I can listen to it a little. Phenomenal musicians. Danny Carey is a drummer, nice guy too. Just phenomenal musicians. I don't like it. But I will listen to a couple. My metal band plays a couple Tool songs. See, I like Godsmack, but I like them more live than I do on CD back in the day. Everything sounds the same with them until you get them live, where you start hearing them making non-processed mistakes. Uh, Another one that I liked a lot. Um, I like Journey. I love REO Speedwagon. Korn was that way. Korn I didn't like until I saw them live. Their first couple albums just sounded like straight garbage to me. Kind of like Slipknot's first album sounded like straight garbage. But once they got up there to where you could hear them live, where they had good production, then it sounded phenomenal to me. Then I fell in love with the band. Not so much a fan of Corey Taylor's, but I fell in love with the band. I actually played with Paul at his show. We both sat in for a metal band over, I can't remember, it was north of Kansas City. Yeah, I used to go that far. Paul Gray, nice guy. He had a little bit of a problem, though, but I barely knew him. We played this show. I barely had an idea what we were doing, and I think he didn't either, and that's just how it goes. But I've played with some pretty influential people. I just don't ever talk about it. Well, they all sang. They all did something because, they didn't have high production. So if you're talking about Slipknot, they had Clown that was singing some stuff, different members. I mean, There's a lot going on there. I was actually more of a fan of Mushroom Head. Is who I liked. Yeah, that drum duel was pretty cool. I got to see that. Their drummer, who's no longer with them, by the way, a lot of people don't realize he was originally an Ugly Kid Joe. He was Ugly Kid Joe's drummer. Yeah. Oh, wow. Thorogood opened for Neil Young. Thorogood's awesome, too. I like listening to him. I like watching him. Oh, yeah. Your Soul is Mine. That's a great song. Uh, there's a couple of them with theirs that are just. There was one that was on Sun Doesn't Rise is a great song. There's a ton of them. They're still playing smaller venues, but they're still playing. Chad Smith is phenomenal. I actually have one of his signature snares. I bought it. It was at a local music store, and I was trying to find a new snare drum, and I went through and I found that Chad Smith Pearl, and I'm not a fan of Pearl, but the snare just sounded phenomenal, and he's a fantastic player. Gore, I saw Gore in St. Louis. Sick of you. I'm so sick of you. Oh, yeah, I know all that stuff. A band that y'all need to check out. Not a lot of people know about. It was an underground band that came out in the late 80s, early 90s. They had one album. Yeah, I've seen that drum battle. It was funny as hell. One album, LA band called Life, Sex, Death, LSD. If you look up Life, Sex, Death band, you're not going to just be able to find them, but listen to them. They're phenomenal. They're one of my favorite bands, and they only had one album. Another good band that got kind of lost in the early 90s was a band called Shotgun Messiah. Fantastic musicians. There was a lot of good bands that got lost in that whenever grunge came up because they could find every Tom, Dick, or Harry that could play three goddamn chords and talk about how bad their life was. There was a few of them that were good. Alice in Chains, top of the list of 90s for me, right there with Soundgarden. Dream Theater, oh yeah, I used to play. I played in a band. And we did Pull Me Under. There was one other one that we did. I had to get extra toms just to be able to play that crap because he's got some. You got Messiah on cassette. Wow, I do too. Witchfinder Drenner. I've never heard of that one. Kicks. There you go. I actually like. They're one of my favorite bands. One of my favorite guitar tones is Kicks "Blow My Fuse." That album, Cold Blood and "Blow My Fuse" are two of the best guitar tones I've ever heard. I can't remember that guitar player's name, but I did meet him once, and I told him that. I said, "Man, I don't know what the hell you guys did, but that was some of the best tones I've ever heard." Oh, look, there's my bastard child. No, he's not a bastard. We claim him. Disaster Piece. We were just talking about Slipknot, and look at his screen name. That's one of their songs. We have decided, by the way, that our parts car convertible Mustang that we stole the fender and the hood off of was Oxford white. So we took it and converted those parts onto the car he used to drive that I sold. That was my car that I sold to the original owner. You can see the video if you haven't. We've decided to actually do some swap and put that thing on the road. Yeah, I sold it. I sold my car. But we're going to convert that thing, put a V8 in it, maybe an automatic, I don't know. Fix it back up, put a fender and a hood on it, swap the motor out, put our V8 in it, put a different rear end, top. It needs a lot of exterior stuff. The inside ain't bad at all. It's just kind of an ugly blue interior. We might do something about it. We, spray paint it. Yeah, make it look less like garbage. We thought about, we were talking about it. Some of you older folks, you remember the Chillin ground effects thing? It had the convertible one had that little bar that went across. They still make those. You can buy those. It's like a little roll bar that goes in. And yeah, we'll see if we can't get that thing on the road. It won't be for a while, but we'll get it there. Dead Horse Trauma, I remember them. But yeah, if you guys want to look at something, look up Life, Sex, Death, and that's a killer, just nasty album. It's really good. I got a couple more. I mean, I could put up some more music. I could. I've got a few more. I don't know how many I got that I can convert. I could probably put the Rain band that I was in. It was REIGN. We recorded in Nashville back in 2001. We recorded in Nashville. Matter of fact, the guitar player and me were just talking about it. But there's 5-6 songs on that one. It was basically a demo that we recorded in a big studio down there in Nashville, Tennessee. I used to spend a lot of time down there, but too touristy for me now. And I mean, it's whatever they want is what they get. So, I mean, for a new artist, and look at me, I'm too freaking old now. Hey, I got Fords. I ain't got no problem with Fords. $9.30. Just remember, Skylar, all the memories of my car. So yeah, that's what's going on. 350 ready to build. Nothing. I didn't say anything. 350 is ready to build. We got duct tape drags. Got to finish Amber's pickup. I think I'm just going to throw some exhaust on it and then call it a day on that one for a while so she can start driving it. Need to fix the fender on my half-ass at least before it gets too bad outside. Fix the fender on that Javelin. I may show that. Have Zeppy help me. I don't know. There ain't a lot to do. I just don't want to go buying any more shit. I'm more worried about getting those AMCs than I am anything. Leonard, I got HDs too. 3 of them, actually. Been in storage for almost 2.5 years. Ain't touched them. Yeah, I know. I know. I would love to come down here and grab some out of there. I hook up my semi to a big old freaking call hauler and just come down and get everything. Bring them home. That's almost worth buying another property to throw them on. But as soon as you take them out of the desert and you bring them here, they instantly start rusting. You got to do a lot to make sure they don't. '82. Wow. I got a '98 Fat Boy Custom. I've got a '07 Electroglide. And I have an '86 Hugger Sportster. That was my mother's. And they didn't call them Sportsters because Harley Davidson had bought AMF still had the rights to the motor, so they couldn't call it a Sportster. So it was called a Hugger. That's how that happened. And it's got I think it's an 883 with a 1200 top end. No. See, that's why you need to stay out of Fords. They carbureted Mustangs all the way up to 1985, actually. In 1985, they started that little tune port thing that Ford was trying to pull off, and it didn't work. But 84, you could get fuel injected or carbed. 85, you could get, they had a couple of holdovers with the carb, but most of them were those throttle body. And then 86, they put that tune port thing. 86 was the first year of the roller engine, the 8.8 rear end, and the tune port injection. See you, Michigan. I actually test drove an 82 once. It was a 4-speed, 302, T-tops, the whole 9 yards, and I ended up not buying it, and I waited about 3 or 4 months, and then I bought an 83 that Skyler would remember. I had owned it twice, but Fox bodies are fun, but I just don't fit in them anymore. I don't even know why the hell he wants one so bad. I'm just not. And people are being ridiculous with their freaking prices. We seen one the other day, 85 or 86. I can't remember what year it was. $10,000. Just a regular old things. You know, it wasn't even anything special. I'm not a fan of either one either. Like Skyler said, he wants a hatchback because that's what you think of when you see a Fox body, but they're all the same. The convertible will just make it look better than it is. Yeah, I know the HD thing. I don't know. I got so much power. Okay. Good for you. Datsun station wagon. That is hilarious. My sister Jody had a Datsun station wagon that she called the Banana because it was the most putrid, ugly, frickin' yellow you ever seen in your life. They want way too much money for everything. Fact of how much that goddamn fuel tank was for that Cutlass. Jesus. If it was a Holly, that would have been an early 85 or an 84 because that's when after that, but yeah, they're little screaming little damn cars. Nothing compared to nowadays, but back in the day, those things were quick. I won so much money with my Fox body back in the day. It was unbelievable. I won pink slips that they'd be like, I'd go to the house and the dad would be standing there and I'd say, yeah, he raced me for pinks. It was an old school hot rodder. He's like, God damn it, kid. And he'd come out with the title. And I'd leave and he'd scold his child to death. And I'd go back the next day and hand him back his title. Yeah, they'd be a limited slip. 85 still had the 7.5 in it, but it didn't matter. I did go through a lot of rear ends. I blew them out constantly. We'd have to go to I probably ran junkyards out of 7.5 rear ends. I just absolutely destroyed them. But yeah, I've actually got 2 of those Holly carbs off Fox bodies out in the second part of my garage. You ain't shitting, Gerald. You ain't shitting. I had somebody ask me if I'd ever buy a new semi because my semis are 1999. They asked me, "You gonna buy a new truck anytime you keep driving?" So I'm gonna keep driving this son of a bitch. You seen the price? I said, "Hell, my truck's worth $100,000 and it's a pile." And that's nothing compared to what they are now. No, roller motors started in '86. They did put some rollers in '85 in Lincolns because they were so smooth. They ran smoother. But the Mustangs, they changed it to a roller engine, tuned port with an 8.8 rear end in 1986. The best year of the Fox body was '89. They had the best horsepower to torque ratio and in at 5-speed, not the automatic. The automatic's slow as shit. AOD transmissions weren't made for performance, let's just say that. Unless you built it. I had guys that had the I don't have no tracking. No, actually, Grease Monkey. They put out a lot of stuff afterwards. You would have had that different style. There was some of them. A lot of the 302s were rollers, but they made it so it was kind of like this Vortec engine we got out here, where it was built to have roller, but not all of them did. Even the 351s, because I've got a 351 out in the garage, 351 Windsor, that's from an '87 or '88. It wasn't a roller, so it very well could have been, though. I'm not saying it wasn't. I just just when you get into Ford's weird. It don't even go by the damn VIN on the car. You just kind of opened it up and went, "Oh shit, it's a roller," or "Oh shit, it's got these pistons in it," or you still get the motor, and it's a 302 with an automatic AOD, or I wouldn't. I don't. It may not have been. They put the rollers in Lincolns and Mustangs. Maybe a few of the Grand Marquis, but a lot of the Grand Marquis still didn't get fuel injection until '87 maybe, or '86, because in like 83, 84, 85 on a Grand Marquis Ford. They had that variable Venturi carburetor. They were, if you ever get a chance to look them up, they had these. It looked like almost like a quadrajet or a Carter style, and it had these two plastic flaps. And whenever you pulled it back, it had these black flaps that would go back in a terrible. But it was called variable Venturi. I'm pretty sure. And I ran into that shit whenever I'd blow an engine. In my Mustang, I'd have my dad and I would, after he got done cussing me out for, leaving rods and half the crank on the frickin' road, we'd go to my junkyard that I go to over here, and there was two more, and we'd find a Grand Marquis, and I'd just yank the engine out of it, and they'd have that variable Venturi on it, and my dad would pull it off and throw the son of a bitch. He's like, these things are junk. 88 Mark, fine, limited slip, missed that. Yeah. So now that would have been a roller. Absolutely. The Thunderbird, the Lincoln, that would have had it. There would have, by then, they probably, they would have been in the Marquis and the Crown Vic, or whatever the hell you want to call it, Mercury Marquis and the Crown Vic. But I'm pretty sure they actually started putting the rollers in the Lincolns first, and then they figured out how efficient they were, so they started putting them into Mustang, because I don't know why they were trying to defeat the F bodies of the day. They were, the Pontiac, the Trans Am one was okay, but still junk. They should have just put a freaking 350 with those 305 HO heads on it. They would have had a monster. You know what I mean? So what the hell were they thinking? They're trying to compete with this little bitty Mustang that had 100 and close to, like, we'll say 190 to 210, depending on the car horsepower. And it would just absolutely destroy IROC Z's and Firebirds. And it was, I'm going to be honest with you, Chevy, all they had to do was replace the 305 with a 350. That they would have had it. Because the 302, I can build one that'll pull up there, but you're not gonna get. You got to remember when this was the 80s and early 90s. They didn't have all the stuff you can do now. When I built my cars, I tried to figure out how to get the most out of them that I could without, we didn't have all this shit that you can put in them now. Granadas. I remember those two. God, yeah, my dad, I grew up in a parts store. A lot of people know my dad worked there 50 years, and people would come in needing parts for those things. And you had to hear my dad. I loved him to death, the way he talked. He was always so politely pissed. Yeah, I need this, and John, I need this for a variable Venturi car. God damn it. Skylar knows exactly, if he's still listening, he knows exactly what I'm talking about. God damn it. Fucking son of a bitch. That was my dad, the little Irish guy that cussed under his breath. Later in life, he didn't say Jesus Christ as much because, you're trying to get to heaven. Oh, God. He was something else. 88 Formula 350. Yep. L98. It was a good car. That I had a buddy that had one of them, had T-tops, a Firebird Formula. And it was maroon, and it had that newer, like when Pontiac, and they had this fancy wheels and all that shit. It was the same time they had the Grand Am. The Grand Prix had just come out. 86 Pontiac 6000. Unfucking killable. I had a friend that had one of them, and we took that thing mudding, slammed it against guardrails. May have had a couple. Busted, can't remember what it all, cracked the oil pan, cracked the transmission pan. And we took, I don't remember where the hell we were, but there's a little hardware store. I mean, you didn't have O'Reilly's and all this shit that you got now. But we took JB Weld while it was still leaking. And JB welded the foil from our cigarette packs. Took JB Weld. And we didn't have any because JB Weld would just start, it would leak through if it wasn't, hardening quick enough. So we took and they don't have it anymore, but they used to have the foil around the cigarette packs. You'd take that foil out of there. Same thing you'd use if you didn't have a fuse. You take Wrigley spearmint gum, take the wrapper off of it, wrap the old glass fuses and shove it back in there. So we took that foil and that JB Weld, and we took a rock or whatever the hell we had, and we just held it up against there until it, it started to harden. It's just, you just did stupid shit like that. But yeah, man, I remember the Pontiac and the Sunbird. Sunbird was a hell of a car too. Yeah, the 6000 was the nice one. God, you guys are bringing up cars. Those things were fancy on the steering wheel and the dash. They had this design. Okay, we're going to age ourselves here, Gen X. You remember the Trapper Keepers that had the bright blue lights that looked like Tron? They had that shit on the dash. I think the Formulas had it too. It was supposed to be like new retro, or well, now it's called retro because we're old as fuck. But I can't remember what they called it. It was like new age, new wave. Oh yeah, radio controls on the steering wheel. That was all new. And it was all like down low. So when you're driving, you'd have to look down like this, veer off the friggin' road. But I never owned one, but I didn't own any Pontiacs back then. Oh yeah, the big tech. God. They had, you had the Pontiac. There was another one too. I had a buddy that had a Saab. Biggest pile of shit I've ever been in. It was the same Saab that was on the movie called Moving with Richard Pryor. If you haven't ever seen that movie, you need to watch it. Called Moving with Richard Pryor. It's goddamn hysterical. But anyway, he has a Saab, and it was the same damn car. The next biggest piece of shit I ever rode in when I was in high school is I had a friend, and she liked Jaguars. She had to have a Jaguar. She had a Jaguar XJ that was in the shop more than it was in her driveway. I think it was an XJ. Is it called an XJ? I can't remember. Same thing Dalton has. My buddy's dad was a Pontiac salesman, and he got to bring home cars as a driver. And this dude would bring home white Trans Ams, just most beautiful cars. He'd let them drive them so that way they could drive around and people could see them and see back then you drove them so people could see them. They had, Poland, Pontiac, and Buick on the back of it. That way, say, oh, that car came from there. Let's go talk to him about it. But my favorite color Trans Ams are the white and the blue with the light blue and black birds. They're just beautiful. I mean, I know the black and gold. Everybody wants the black and gold. I've owned 4 of them. 4. And but that blue with the WS8 think it's WS8 wheels, not the 7. It's got the little bit of ledge on your outer ring. And just gold and all in all. They're fucking gorgeous. The white ones that had the light blue striping and the blue bird and all. Oh, God. They were just beautiful cars. And Poland's had them. I used to go with my dad to work, and we had to go right by there every day. And every once in a while, he'd drive through and let me see all the cars. 1979, 1980. Not a huge Smokey the Bandit fan, so. The red ones are kind of cool, too. I like the red ones. I was a lucky kid. I was a damn lucky kid. We didn't have a lot of money, but got to see a lot of cool things that you don't get to see now. That's for damn sure. And I think that's why I like it whenever I bring my cars out for people to see, that these kids get to see them. Like a Javelin. I'm not picky about it. If it's sitting there and somebody wants to see it, I'll open the door for them. Here, have a seat. Nobody ever gets to see that shit. The ambulance, kids got to climb through the back and out the doors. Who the hell gets to see that? I seen them when I was a kid, but they were just cars. We didn't care. But now these guys, it's like you're seeing a goddamn rock off a distant planet. Oh, yeah. The 455 HO. Hell yeah. By then, they had a lot of the EPA crap that was kind of killing them. But if you took it apart and got all that shit off there and changed the heads on them, whoo, boy, they're still a monster. The last year of the good Pontiac, 1974. After that, they couldn't get away from all the EPA crap anymore. And that's when they started adding the air pump. They had all the extra shit in the heads. They started putting out the 6X8 heads, which were lower compression. It's just what happened. You know that the 350 Pontiac from 71 or 70 through 70, 71 through 74 had more horsepower than the 455 in 1976. In that little bit of time. That's crazy. They killed them off that fast. Yeah. The Pontiac that I got outside, I got 2 sets of 6X8 heads. There is a difference between the 8s and the 6X4s. If you're lucky, you get some of them ones from the 428 HO. Those are good heads. Can't remember, they're 16 screw-in studs, got the girdles across all of them. Badass. They're on Dalton's 2+2. That engine's got those heads in it. They're not 16s. They're something else. 16s are what I had on the ambulance. And that's what's same heads that were on GTO. But guys, I'm gonna Tritons 4.6, absolutely. What's the other one? 5.4. If you know what you're doing, they're a great engine. But the minute you try to do something and you don't blow out holes, soak them, like we're talking about plugs, the minute you try to change those without using some kind of a knocker loose or PV blaster or something, you're done. And the thing is you'll get them out and then you'll put your new one in, but by then your threads are already screwed, so you're just going to blow the damn piston or the plug out of the piston. I've changed a million of them. I've got two of the tools to do the plugs out there. Yeah, I got to get to bed. I don't even know what I'm doing tomorrow. But yeah, we got some stuff coming. It's just gonna be a while. Like I said, with all the events that have happened, I'm not going to get into it, but I'm just not in the right frame of mind to do it, and I want to make sure that Zeppy's involved. Oh yeah, Caleb. I mean, if you take care of them and you really maintenance them, they're good motor. But most of the times, nobody did. Everything built nowadays is throwaway. They're throwaway vehicles. Once they're done, they're done. You just don't. Not even worth messing with them. But yeah, I'm gonna go. Y'all take care. Appreciate you watching me in my little. I just didn't have nothing to do. I thought I'd say hi, but I am going to get out of here. Y'all have a good night.